some lighting. While it's still dimming, let's get started.
Lovely.
Yeah, let's get started. Okay, now it's brightening up. Oh no. So here it goes. Welcome to the Hospitality Chat podcast. My name is Mehdi Rahman, and we have Joana Oliveira and Matthew Drummond-Poynter as our co-hosts. And we're looking into something that is considered very important, but you shouldn't really forget, which is hygiene. I mean, that is pretty much like the forefront of everyone's minds now. Even like considering, we're in a sort of like, I don't know, we're still in a sort of pandemic, but we're trying to head for the endemic. And I think hygiene is considered now the most almost like it's like already a rule that you don't need to say. It's like you need to have the hygiene, and if you don't, you're in trouble. I mean, I think these
especially
are
in restaurants.
Yeah.
If you don't have personal hygiene, I mean, up to you, you do you. But restaurants, since you're caring for other people's foods and drinks, you have to be extremely hygienic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Mehdi's really touching on something when he says that right now, in the wake of the pandemic, that we're kind of experiencing more of a kind of we're placing more importance on hygiene in general, now that being unhygienic and such like kind of runs the risk of spreading the virus to everyone. Everyone's been way more stricter on like sanitizing their hands and such like,
Yes.
and we kind of see this bleed over into just a general concern about hygiene overall. And in restaurants particularly, of course, this is extremely important because if your restaurant is known for having like bad hygiene, there's just a ton of like negative side effects. Like, obviously, your customers like get sick, your staff get sick and have to take like off days. Obviously, if your restaurant gets known for bad hygiene, then chances are you're going to experience a sharp decline in like customers coming to your restaurant and your reputation overall, and it can land you in just dreadful legal trouble, obviously, if you're found to be like being completely negligent around these kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, public health is such an important service as well, considering like you're in terms of hospitality, and you want to provide a good customer service here. Endangering your customers is never a good thing, especially with hygiene nowadays, where we have to engage in better practice, because like you say, in the decrease in customer satisfaction is one thing, but also there are repercussions of failing to comply can lead to fine and imprisonment as a result of not following your codes of conduct, health and safety acts, and having and not only that, but having a 5-star hygiene rate, like you always show yourself that you're taking the hygiene seriously. You make sure that your customers feel safe and you feel comfortable around you. They don't need to be so vigilant when they're in your business. They're more like, all right, at least they're taking some consideration into matters of our safety. I would go in and enjoy myself. And that's what you think is considered important for hospitality, is to have the assurance of your customers feeling happy when they're in your service and also safe during your service.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. Having like bad hygiene can actually lead to not only legal trouble, but your restaurant being shut down. When you get like regular inspections as a restaurant from your local authorities and such like, and if they find that your hygiene standards are actually to the point where it's unsafe for your customers, then they will actually shut down either parts or your entire business down. And I'm assuming that's something that most of our listeners will want to avoid there. But yeah, there's also kind of positive side of it, which is that a lot of these times when you get like these hygiene inspections, you get a kind of rating from 1 to 5, and if your rating is like a 5 or a 4, then you can kind of like you get a sticker to put that in your window, and you can show that you kind of like care about your hygiene, and that really kind of helps towards the initial perception of your restaurant, regardless of how like people may see it beforehand. If they can see that you're got that high hygiene rating, then they know that you're taking their safety seriously. And it is a matter of personal safety choosing like to eat somewhere which is taking hygiene regulations seriously. Both in terms of like if you're eating food that's been like improperly prepared, particularly if it's kind of like meat or something like that, which of course has no shortage of like harmful pathogens in it. You can get serious like diseases. Like I think a relative of mine had salmonella for about a few days, and that was no one's idea of a fun time. But also in terms of stuff like, weirdly enough, hygiene doesn't just actually correlate to that, but it can also refer to the cross contamination of allergens, like which of course is something we've touched on in the past.
Yeah.
If you're using the same station to prepare like foods that are that have like severe allergens on them, and you're then using foods which you claim don't have these allergens in them, but because you're preparing them on the same station, chopping board, that kind of thing, there's going to be cross contamination of those kinds of things, which will then result in your customers having a severe allergic reaction. And again, you'll be judged as being unsafe for your customers, and you'll probably have your restaurant shut down.
Yeah, the scare of like allergens and allergies being cross contamination. Yeah, it's always essential that, you know, in a way to improve the hygiene of your hospitality business, your restaurants in particular, would be, I think it would be to make sure that you clean every tools, every single equipment, and always mandate a particular clean schedule in every single day of the restaurant being open, or even after it's in its closing periods of like a weekend that they're closed. You always make sure you keep up the cleanliness of your restaurant. And I think in relation, if we can plug in, you know, our plug into the OrderPins app we have called Boss Hero, it allows us to schedule or monitor daily tasks and routines being conducted by the staff. Like say if the health and safety tasks have been done as part, as well as, and despite the app's ability to help us schedule and note down the health and safety tasks that have been conducted each day, it's important for business owners, managers as well, to check on if they have been successfully done or not.
Yes, absolutely. Boss Hero can really help in that regard by holding your staff accountable, by they'll report if like they've done like if certain hygiene tasks have been accomplished, and it's a great way to kind of like bypass traditional record keeping in this regard, where because the other alternative is to have like a written record where you where people write down manually kind of if a task's been done, when, where, and what happened, which is also of course an excellent way of keeping a kind of rigorousness, because hygiene like processes in your business have to be a kind of something that's done as a matter of routine. It has to be scheduled. You can't risk these kinds of like ambiguities regarding "I think I did it" or along those lines. You have to kind of have, yes, we always do this after this process, always, because if there's even the chance of ambiguity there, or you don't know if you did it or not, then you're just going to end up bypassing and putting your customers in serious danger. And those dangers are pretty severe. We've touched on allergens, but also cross-contamination of meat and fish, obviously. For different foods have to be prepared differently. And for example, obviously, vegetables, they kind of require a bit less rigorousness than meat in that regard. And you don't want like the bacteria from going from like meat all the way to like vegetables, which are cooked kind of probably at lower heat, and as a result kind of don't like get rid of a lot of wouldn't get rid of a lot of that meat bacteria because it's cooked at like a lower heat. So then you'll end up with like disastrously dangerous bacteria on your vegetables. Also, it's just no one likes having meat tasting on their vegetables, or like the vegetable like tasting on their egg, that kind of thing. It's just gross as well.
Like if it's like in its full product as well, like you don't want to, it's kind of like, it's very unsanitary. It's really like, ugh. Like, and I've been to restaurants where I did get sick as well, and according to the Food Standard Agency, cross contamination is one of the most common causes for food poisoning. And considering if I've been sick as a result of it, could be that one particular reason. Like usually there are other factors, but usually cross contamination is a very big, most common cause for it to be happening.
Basically, long story short, keep everything organized and clean everything if you used it for the wrong thing, because normally restaurants do have different like knives and different chopping boards for different things, like meat and vegetables are different colors. But in case of a misunderstanding and you used the wrong one, just clean it, sanitize it properly, so you don't cause anyone to get sick or just get disgusted by the taste. But most importantly, to not get them sick. Obviously, Matthew said the if the vegetables tasted like meat, if you gave that plate to a vegetarian or a vegan, they probably feel disgusted and maybe even get sick if they don't intake any meat whatsoever. Their bodies might not be used to it anymore. So it's a matter of being careful and making sure everyone is safe and enjoys your restaurant and your food.
And also another thing as well, in terms of like bacteria and and other forms of E. coli and whatnot that can be produced. I think it's also to keeping track of the dates of your food, because you do not want to send off rotten or out of dated food to customers, because you don't want them to feel sick again, because a week after their sell by date is like the bacteria of the food starts to develop. So you do not want to have something like something that will make them sick as a result of like an infection. Wouldn't you agree, Matthew?
Yeah, absolutely. Also keep in mind, like, you'll probably get this information from your supplier, regarding like storage recommendations. But yeah, keep in mind like the sell-by date and like when it's going to go off. Use written records and such like to kind of keep track of those things. But also make sure you're storing it at the right temperature as well. You wouldn't want to like store to go back to meat again. You wouldn't want to store meat at room temperature because it's going to go off extremely quickly as a result, and that's just bad for you then, because then you have to keep replacing your food over and over again at a far quicker interval, which is going to raise your overheads massively.
Like even like, and also with in the use of like kitchen utensils and facilities like say fridges and whatnot, you got to make sure that even simple as keeping your fridge closed after you're done, you immediately close your fridges and whatnot, because any temperature change inside the fridge as a result of being exposed to the open air could cause serious like changes in the environment of your foods, and it can either lead to the rise of infections or bacterial kind of like being built up or whatnot. So it's always important to keep little stuff like immediately when you're done using an item, clean it immediately, or make sure you sanitize it or close whatever cupboards there are, so you do not have a sense of like unnecessary exposure to your produce. So it's stuff like that to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, storage is yet another opportunity to keep an eye out for cross-contamination. Store your things separately. This should go without saying, but I think we've all seen a kind of horror story once or twice where they're like storing like different like meats together and such like, and it just looks gross.
TV, I mean, like shows, like like TV shows. You see like Kitchen Nightmares, where you see like I don't know.
You just see mold in like sauces and whatever, and you're like, oh no, that's like blue cheese. That's why I don't trust anyone that eats blue cheese, bro. Like, because they eat mold, so the owners can be like, oh no, that's just a blue cheese sauce, but just a normal sauce and it has mold on it. No, don't do that to people.
No,
I'm never eating blue cheese at a restaurant again now, thanks.
Welcome.
Now you just convinced me fully. Now I can't do that to myself. Oh, why do you
were the one that brought up Kitchen Nightmares. We've seen so much. You've seen like ovens that are not cleaned, so they're like black because they don't clean them regularly. Like, it's insane. How are they still open is my question. Like, how do they have business?
But not only that, when you don't clean your ovens, like if there's so much grease and whatnot, by using the oven, you can potentially cause a fire into your establishment, and you do not want to have a burnt down restaurant that is like, because essentially restaurants are your business. It's your legacy at the end of it. Like, when you want to make sure you provide a service, try to build your money, and all that investment will go down the drain if you simply start becoming negligent of, say, simple cleaning procedures, because grease is flammable in a sense, because it is oil in the end of it.
Yeah. Same with cleaning your floors, because things fall on the floor all the time. Just keep everything sanitized constantly. If you don't have time to do a deep clean during a shift, which you probably won't as chefs, they don't. But at the end of your shift or when the kitchen closes, do a deep clean. Make sure everything is clean and sanitized. Check everything on your check dates on everything. If you open something, count 4 days or 3 days and then put the sticker so people know when is the day to throw it away or where's the date that's expired. Keep all of that in check. so your kitchen can run smoothly and the rest of the restaurant can also run smoothly with it.
I mean, not only that as well. I think with the measures of like, in terms of in context of the the pandemic and the virus. We can't say the actual name of it because demonetization and everything. And you
The
wanna
panini. Call it the panini.
the panini, yes, the
We've
panini.
been on the panini for 2 years. It's insane.
Yes, the panini for 2 years. I think that'd be a good way to say we'll call it the panini from now on. That is perfect. But yeah, since we've been on the panini for 2 years, probably maybe say that. But there's measures that we put in place. I think that is count as part of the health regulations now for the industry. Social distancing, face covering at appropriate times, and in the sense of not to overcrowd and trying to reduce the amount of overcrowding of the spaces. And I think even though the regulations have changed now, I mean the rules on social distancing have changed. I just feel like still has to, because considering we're not still out of the panini yet. We want to make sure that we're still trying to take everyone's safety into account because it's still not over yet. It's not like fully been established that it's completely over, the panini that is. So therefore, I'm starting
It's
to
what
like.
YouTube likes.
Yes.
I've heard other YouTubers talking about it. They say the panini instead because then they don't get demonetized.
Yeah,
I think it's cute.
Daniel's going to be wondering what the hell is going on in the editing.
I'll tell him on the spot what it is. I just can't say it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yes.
But also in terms of COVID regulation. Oh, sorry. But yeah, one other thing with COVID regulations, I guess, would be make sure you've got like hand washing stations, like sanitizing gel dispensers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, like added to like the restrooms, make sure there's soap and everything that people can clean and wash their hands, because I'm always gonna bring it back to my experiences, but I remember that
you have to keep cleaning again with you, like I know you. I think I know what you're gonna talk about on this one, like almost like a spray.
I kept cleaning the doorknobs and the doors, but also like the dishwasher dispensers. No, the soap dispensers in the bathrooms. We'd always gone out. So besides me being a bartender, waitress, and a host, I would have to go clean the toilets as well and make sure that everyone had like soap to clean their hands. Because obviously we talk a lot about restaurants and how the kitchen and bars be safe, but also obviously the clients, the customers can also spread it. So we have to make sure there's, like Matthew said, dispensers for your hands at the door, but also in the toilets, so people can go to the toilet and wash their hands. If they don't, then we did everything we could. If people want to be disgusting, they can. I'm not going to stop anyone from doing whatever they want, but you know what I mean? At least it's there so people can use it. We can't reinforce hygiene to the customers, but at least it's there so people can obviously use it if they want to.
But it's still like, I feel like it's not only the restaurant owners and the employees themselves to take part. I feel also we all have to take part as well. Like we all have a responsibility to keep people safe. And even if it's people that we never met at all, I feel like it's still our responsibility to make sure that people are safe. Because right now, it's the panini is not over yet. The panini is not over yet.
It's getting worse, in fact, I think. Because there's different variations of it. I'm trying so hard to go over the words without actually saying it, but it's getting different variations in different countries. So even with the resources we have, it's still out there. You can search it on Google right now, but I know there's been spikes in the beginning of the year. So I don't think the panini is going to be over anytime soon, to be honest with you. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's starting to I mean, it did almost how do I explain it? The panini has peaked in around the 28th, at the time of the recording, from the 28th of January. It did peak in terms of the cases, but I feel like I know, but it's like it goes to show that we have to be more caution. I think because not many people have passed from as a result from the panini. Sorry, I slipped it. But yeah, I know the panini. It sounds really weird, but I feel like it's still it kind of makes people a bit lax. And I think if anything, we should be more focused on keeping everyone
I also
safe.
think because it's been 2 years into it, people are just losing hope. So they care less. Like I've seen on the underground, because people, I think
Yeah,
Boris said we didn't need to use masks. I still use mine every time I go out just in case. But
yeah,
you see so many more people without it. Like the panini is gone and it's over. And it hasn't been. That's the reason why there's been spikes like a couple days ago, because people are getting more careless because the the mayor or whatever he is says, oh, you don't have to use masks anymore. You're just spreading it and making the panini worse, and then it's going to
yeah,
be spikes, and then people are going to start to like
yeah,
sudoku
Yeah,
start
it's
to
yeah.
sudoku their lives, and then it's going to get worse. I don't think, like my dad said to me, it's just we have to um oh, what did he say? This is going to be the new world. I don't think this is going to ever end. Maybe it will, but I think this is going to be the new form of just walking around with masks and like being cautious about it. You know what I mean? I don't think we're never going to go
I,
back to 2019 version of not using hand
uh,
sanitizers
I know.
much, or not using masks, or So I think this is the
Yeah,
new world,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Weird. It's weird when you say like that, the new world that we're in right now. But I feel
But
like
it's kind of
if,
true, you
but,
know?
but I feel like it makes it even more important that we look out for each other at the end of it. I
Mhm.
think and I think it starts by making sure that we always look out for each other, and even in our business life as well as the restaurant business in particular. When going back to the restaurant business as well, we have to make sure we keep up with the sanitations, and the way to monitor it. Well, again, when we talked about is the Boss Heroes app with the monitoring feature. We've got to make sure that with the app that it shows, it does show that in fact that it keeps this hygiene task being carried out, and it can have that accountability, staff accountability as well, and as well as owner accountability to be checking the results of every task that has been done. And also for us restaurants, and I think this is extremely important as well, make sure you register your restaurant with hygiene regulators, so that way they can check, they can always make sure that the local authorities be aware of your business, plus they can inspect on it for any concerns that they may have, or and also to keep monitoring the hygiene standards as well as the health and safety standards and the food safety as well, to make sure that if your restaurant's continuously keeping up its hygiene standards always, and I think it helped to assure your success in a sense that you're keeping your customers safe no matter what. And I think this is a bit of a short one as well, but I think the message to end off with this podcast, I think, is we have a responsibility to look out for each other, and we have to make sure we keep everyone safe. And we all what we have, and we're in this new world. But let's try and make sure that we stay safe with this new world as well. Even more so than the old world that we're in, because I think safety is number one. And we want to live till 73. I mean, I want to live till 73.
Why that specific number?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I want to live, but I don't want to live too long, because then you
So
start to,
73, not even 75, is 73.
I don't
We
know.
know, Matthew, that on that day, if both of us are still alive, we have to make sure that he dies. Said 73. So in that
It's gonna be some
year,
Final Destination-esque
yeah.
hygiene.
I know, man. It really does. But
Oh my
yeah,
god.
what a way to end it. Bit morbid, but
You started it. I
look.
just ended it.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think that is pretty much, I think that's the best way to end it. I mean, this is the Hospitality Chat podcast. My name is Mehdi Rahman. My hosts, Joana Oliveira and Matthew Drummond-Poynter. Please like and subscribe and click the bell for,
Comment
yes, and comment. Yes, thank you again.
and share if
Share.
share's still a thing.
Sharing is caring, you know. So,
Are we just adding like one on to each time we do
Because I
this?
remember all the YouTubers say like and subscribe
like,
like at
and
the beginning of
share,
the videos, and then hit the
hit the
bell so
bell,
you can get
hit
all
the
the
bell,
notifications.
hit
Comment
the
down
bell here.
below.
It's right there. You know, like I'm just trying to make sure I'm pointing in the right direction.
Isn't
You
it
all,
like here on
yeah,
this side?
the bell's here. When you click the subscribe button, it's right here. So just click
Daniel's gonna
subscribe.
put two bells, one here, one there, just in case. And
Yeah,
share. There's a button to share, but not a lot of
yeah,
people say share anymore. But
um,
share it
yeah,
so more people can see it.
yeah. Because we want to make sure that the message that we're sending is always, you know, sharing the message of like making sure to manage your business, but also like measures that can
People.
be taken on any other, you know, just people can take the advice from OrderPin, and we're providing that service, you know. So we just want to do our bit, do our part, you know, in public health and, you know, the restaurant business and the industry itself. So yes, make sure you subscribe. I would say thank you and goodbye.